Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Welcome back everyone to ESL One Hamburg 2018 day number 2, and we are moving on to match number 2 right now, and it's a very, very important match for both of these two teams. They both have 2 series remaining in the group, one of which for paiN is against Secret. The other one for Mineski is against Vici. So you'd imagine they're both tough matches, which means it really does come down to the next match for both teams. And guess what? They face each other. It's Mineski versus paiN, and they currently sit 4th and 6th right now in the group. So a massive match for these two to get out of Group A. We've also had a little bit of a change here on the panel. We welcome back Purge and Blitz. How you doing, gents? You right?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to this one. This should be a good game. But maybe not the highest quality because, you know, they haven't played that well yet. But in terms of standings, this is very important for both teams.
No, it smells like it's going to be a good game, Paul.
It's
There's definitely a strong air for deciding where the group placements are going to be. Like, I mean, they're also tied with Alliance right now, so there's a lot of different ways that this is going to affect matches. But I think the important thing to remember is that all these teams and players are really solid, even if they are sitting somewhere towards the bottom of their groups right now. Like Mineski on paper can become a really good team. Maybe they're not looking there right now, but paiN has also had some really good strength moments where they've done well at tournaments. So.
Yeah, paiN just lost to Alliance in 72 minutes, Will.
Was it a 2-0?
Yeah, no, it was a 1-1, I believe. And now they've got to come into this game and do it again and win this time. How do you bounce back from a defeat like that?
I think it's weird because I feel like this team does get tilted because they're an emotional team.
Yeah.
And they kind of, like we were just at the Red Bull End, and whenever they did well, you just hear them scream, they'd shout, and when they lose, there'd just be this like silence. And I think there are some things about being very consistent in your emotions in games, just because like sure, when things are going well, maybe you can ride that wave and you can scare the other team, but you also have to learn how to control stuff for yourself, because yeah, you lost a 72-minute game, but you've got to just keep the ball rolling, move on. And for some teams that's easier than others. Like a lot of teams can just kind of look at themselves and say, okay, we should have won that, we can bounce back from this.
Yeah.
And a lot of teams
block it out.
Yeah, exactly. But some teams I think it'll be in the back of your head.
Right.
Like every subsequent loss will then be like, well, if we had just not lost this game, then things would be different. But you can't have that mentality. You just have to move forward. And I feel like paiN sometimes has this tendency to stick to what happened in previous games.
Yeah. Kevin, how do you rate them so far? Difficult, obviously not that many matches, but they've now got Misery in the 5 position. They've got We in the team, 3 other great Brazilians who we've all raved about at various times over the last 12 months. It looks like it could be a good team.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely an improvement. Misery is definitely a better mechanical player than Duster. Duster was good, but he definitely, there were some moments where you could see that he died a couple times where it wasn't necessary. So I think it should be an upgrade. With that said though, maybe Misery adds less stability to the team because he's maybe more commanding. So it could affect things in a negative way if they do start having losses and their morale isn't being built up as much. So we could see that as well. But yeah, they have good potential. I just don't feel like they're going to be quite... I think they're going to streak hard at some point and become a potentially good team, but I don't know if it's going to last super long term, and I don't really know when that peak might be. Might not be today.
Okay, Mineski, you've made a lot of changes since TI. JT coming in, doesn't have a massive amount of experience. I mean, he's only been playing professionally for just over a year now, which isn't long. And then KP coming in is a massive name to bring into Mineski, and obviously adding Febby with that experience that he's had as well. Again, on paper, you look at it and think, actually, there's a lot of potential here.
Yeah, but I think these are guys that have also had disappointing results in this last year, especially Febby. Wasn't even able to qualify for TI after being on that great MVP team that we saw do so well at so many events. I think that was during TI 6 times when they were getting top 5, top 6 at everything.
I mean, Febby beat OG on LAN in a best of 5 right before TI, so I don't know why you're talking shit about him. Okay.
That's true. But I think that this guy, like what he requires more than anything, and I think what made the MVP team so special and what it made it work is that they had March. They had this like disciplinarian that was just very like hands-on, kind of like a father figure. It's just like, this is the way that things are. I know he could get angry with the best of them. And I feel like that's kind of what Febby needs. He needs a guy who's going to instill some discipline in him. I saw at the Red Bull End, sometimes you'd see Mushi just yell at his team. And a lot of the times I'd be like, that's a little bit toxic. But I think for this kind of lineup where there's a good mix of young and new blood, I feel like you need somebody that just kind of brings everyone together and says like, this is the way things are done. Please listen to me. I'm the veteran presence on this team. And that way the team doesn't flounder. But I think it's such a different role for Mushi because he's also playing, he's doing that, he's captaining, he's doing all of this while also playing 5. It's such a hard transition from what he's used to, because most of the time he just gets to play core, hit some creeps, somebody will take care of this stuff for him. If it doesn't go well, you've got DJ or somebody making plays for you. Well, now things are really different because you don't really have that backup presence.
I'm glad you brought him up, actually, because he's in our player comparison. Mushi versus Misery, effectively. Both fives. One's he's been there forever, it seems, as a 5, and he's captained teams all over the world, including EG, DC to a TI Grand Final as well. He's been there, seen it, and done it all. Mushi, on the other hand, as you rightly point out, Will, has had a role change here, Kevin. So, how do they stack up for you?
Well, I feel like on paper there's much better talent on Mineski, is what seems clear to me. I think Moon has been fantastic been extremely consistent for a while among many of the other players on Mineski. But in terms of these two players, yeah, Mushi isn't as proven, but he's played Dota for so long, and he has occasionally dabbled in other roles, not for super long times, but between like mid and carry. So I feel like there's good potential here, and a lot of nice things that happen sometimes when you go from a core role to a support is sometimes your outplay potential is also really high, because you spend so much time in those like knife edge moments in so many team fights that it can give you an upper hand. So in terms of like laning, this could definitely give him a potential upper hand, but in terms of like late game teamwork, captaining kind of stuff, Misery's going to have the advantage there because he's had more time.
Does that also equate to the draft?
I feel like drafts should be something that is okay to switch roles and still handle, because you're still looking at drafts regardless of what role you're playing. Maybe you don't understand your exact hero as well in the game, but I feel like if you're trying to pick a good 5 heroes, I think that should be about the same regardless of how long you've been playing that exact role.
Going to Clairvoyance is also on the team as a coach.
I like Claire a lot. I think he's a really thoughtful guy. I was trying to figure out the word, but I think he's a really thoughtful guy because this guy measures his words. He's well-spoken. I think he's a good presence on the team overall, because he's one of the things I always say about a coach is like you need somebody with even emotions, because Dota, just competitive stuff in general, is a very uneven game, right? You're going to swing from one emotional spectrum to the other, so you need somebody that provides that kind of balance. Like when I think of the best sports managers, it's always the guys that can keep it together, put on a brave face for their team regardless of what's happening. Like, my favorite quote is like, you treat your players the same way regardless of how they played before the game as you do after. Because if they have an excellent game, you want to be able to just say, played well, but like we need to be able to move on, rather than you're saying like, you played the best game ever. You can't let anybody get complacent. Whereas it goes the other way too. If somebody has a bad game, you can't just shit on them and say, I can't even, what were you doing? Because then most players understand when they played badly. You need a guy who's going to provide the evenness of it to be able to tell you, this wasn't perfect, but here's how we can get better.
This man, someone described Misery to me the other day as a journeyman Dota player. Is that a fair?
I don't know what that means.
I guess it means he's been around a lot.
Yeah, he really has.
He's changed teams a lot, he's changed roles a lot, he's been there and seen it, and pretty much done it all, including a TI Grand Final, obviously. I don't necessarily think that's a derisory way of explaining his role in Dota as a journeyman. Do you feel that?
I mean, he's literally played Dota in every continent at this point, or every major region. He was a part of the first international team to go to China. He's now in South America. He's obviously played in Europe. He's obviously played in NA. He's been all over the place, so I think that's easy to say. Plus, he's played so many different roles, and he's been here since the early Dota 1 days, so you can easily describe him that way. You could definitely make inferences about whether or not that's a good thing. Generally, the players that jump teams often, you could look at as a negative or some kind of something to say about their stability in a roster. But yeah, it's not a big deal to explain him as being all over the place, because it's absolutely true.
Yeah. Is this the end of the journey for Misery?
Oh, no way. So I'll say this. When I was working with him, he would always say, like, I think I need change in my life constantly to, like, push me, because he's done so many things and he's accomplished nearly everything. I mean, he's won a major. The only thing he hasn't done is win a TI, and he's gotten quite close. If you think about his career, it's quite illustrious, but he says, when you've kind of done everything, you've played every role, like, this guy was one of the best core players in the world in Dota 1 and in the early stages of Dota 2. He's like, I've done it all. I've captained, I've played core, I've won this, I've won that. At some point, you need something to continue to motivate you. You need a spark. And so he said, I think I'm the kind of guy that just needs something different at all times. Like when he went to Secret, all of a sudden he's like, well, I guess I'll play offlane. And he picked that up and he won a major. Yep. And so I think for him, he relishes that as a challenge, to do it with a new team, to do it with a different role. He loves it. Yep. And so, yeah, of course I'd love to say, you know, yeah, paiN, he told me he was with you guys for life, but just based on history, it is a personal choice a lot of the times. Yeah. When he decides to leave a team, he's just like, I want to do something different.
Do you feel that it's the right role for him right now, Kevin. In the you know, he's in the 5 and he's drafting and he's the captain and he's looking after the players. He's trying to keep them. Is that the right role for him? Because he has made mention in the past that he didn't really want to captain teams. He didn't want to really have that responsibility.
I mean, it's the right role, and that is the one he's most experienced in. But I would say it's more about his current circumstances. I mean, his previous team, he was on EG. He tried to fix the team, did not go well, ended up getting kicked. And when you get dropped from a team right before TI, you snag onto whatever you can, more or less. And a lot of high-level players do the same thing. Universe going to Fnatic, for example, same thing. There's a pattern here, EG kicking somebody and then going somewhere else. But if you go from a high illustrious team down a little bit, you need to snap onto something pretty quick and then fill a role. And then maybe later, if things get good and you stick around, you get to make the decision. You get to say, like, oh, it's fine. I'm going to play core now, finally. Right. Then, yeah, sure, move yourself in that position. But there's no way that Misery was going to be going free market, form a whole new team after this TI season where there wasn't that much shuffling, and pick core. I think this just makes sense for him to play support right now, and maybe he'll change in the future.
It certainly leads back to something we talked about pretty much the whole season last year, Will, which is if the Brazilians were going to improve and they were going to start not just qualifying, but actually taking part beyond the group stages and winning matches, it was that they needed some sort of Western coach or even a Chinese coach or someone with a lot of experience to go in. That Misery effectively is that guy, isn't he?
Yeah, but he was also the coach for last season during that TI run.
During TI, yeah.
And they didn't have the best thing. But what he says, like, he instills in the team is discipline. Because a lot of these guys are used to just kind of doing things their own way. Because if the scene is fledgling, you don't really know what success is. You don't really know how to get there. And so you just kind of follow the example of each other more than anything. And then you get this guy who, Misery is a hard ass. He's never going to just let things slide. If you're late, he's going to make sure that you know you were late. He's going to be the kind of guy that's just like, you need to show up on time. You need to do things the correct way. That's how we did things on DC. Say, guys, if you're not a 10 and ready to play, then I'm not playing. That's simply put. Yeah. And they thought he was bluffing. I think it was like the 3rd day. I don't want to say who decided to sleep in, but somebody decided to sleep in. I even got donuts and coffee for everybody. I was like, let's go. Somebody's asleep. And then he just leaves the room. He's just like, you know, you're either here to play or you're here to waste my time. And he's like, if you're going to waste my time, then what's the point of this? And I think this is a really good thing for them, but it's going to take some change because that kind of captainship and mentorship, it's not easy to adjust to.
Yeah, and I was going to talk to you, Kevin, about that awkwardness of moving away from that kind of ultra emotional Dota, which has got them this far. Let's not forget that. It's given them several successful events. They did well at ESL One Birmingham in the past. They're starting to look like a really good team with high skill level, but as Will said, they've lacked that discipline, so instilling them in that and putting them on the Misery train, as it were, it's going to take time, isn't it, to move across and maybe find the balance between those two things. They don't want to lose all of that, do they?
Yeah, they don't want to, but it's still different realities. Like, to mirror Will's example, you can show up to work on time, but still play Dota the same way once you're in your scrims. And maybe he's going to limit the amount of talking in game a little bit, or maybe he's going to try to keep chatter focused towards actual game strategy things. And maybe his in-game, he'll focus, like maybe he won't get their jokes as much because maybe some of their jokes are only really good if you understand Portuguese, for example, or something. But I still think they can still be their own team and still have fun, and maybe instill some of that back on him as well. Make him have a little bit more fun when playing Dota, and that could also make Misery a better player. So I'm sure they'll still be themselves. If not, they'll leave the team and do something else. That's always how these things go. And then each player that exists in the organization can learn something from it and be better in the future.
Yeah, well, at this point, he's like an honorary Brazilian or something in that team, isn't he? I mean, I know he doesn't speak a huge amount of Portuguese, and he often laughs and tells me I have no idea what they're talking about, but they laugh all the time, and I just join in. It's fun. But he to start with, at least, he was in there just doing his own thing. They were doing their own thing, and it kind of still works somehow. How is that possible?
I think he just likes to have fun, and that's just such a universal concept. I asked him what it's like to live in the team house, and he said, it's a blast. I love Brazil. The food, he just talks about the food all the time. He's like, the food is incredible. As long as, he says, as long as I don't really care what the team house is like or any of the conditions, if the food's good and there's Dota to be played and I can just sit there and grind 12 hours a day, he said, it's the same thing no matter where you are in the world, right? And so I think for him, it's easy to adapt to wherever he really is as long as he has those two things. It's kind of the case for most Dota players. It's just that a lot of them, I think, weren't willing to make that step because it's scary. It's like when we were the first team to move to Southeast Asia that wasn't
move to a different area than you lived in, basically, to form a team. Yeah.
We were revolutionary in that regard.
You were. And ahead of the curve, you guys.
But like, it was scary even for us because it was just such a YOLO maneuver to make, and you have to figure out things, you have to learn cultural things and stuff like that, and it's such a big change from what you're used to. But people get used to it faster than, and once I think people saw us do it, it became a pretty commonplace thing.
Yeah, but that was a big drama at the time, right? It's like, oh, foreign players going somewhere else to play their tournaments. But yeah, it's normal for
Yeah,
qualifiers.
it's kind of accepted now, isn't it?
Yeah, for regional qualifiers, absolutely normal.
All right, good stuff, good chat. There's one other thing I would like to know. Apparently, there's a Snipes Player Lounge. Now, I haven't been to that lounge, and I don't even know where it is. So a good job we've got Shane on the team.
Here we are at the Snipes Lounge. It is the penthouse suite of this hotel. Let's have a look around. Here at the Snipes Player Lounge, you got pinball. I think Kyle has the highest score. How are you doing, Blitz?
I'm doing terribly. I just lost. I literally just lost.
I'm sorry, my bad. You got some Scale Electrics on the go here. Are you any good at this? 3, 2, 1, go. Oh no, this corner every time. How's your table tennis? Maybe I can beat you at that. If you fancy a bit of tennis, we have a miniature version here. Every penthouse comes with a beautiful view. Very cool. We got a fully stocked kitchen. All the drinks you want. Here all the players can watch all the games. Each screen is for an individual stream. Who's playing now? Forward versus VP. I do love a good bubble bath. When the players have them extra tough games, they can relax and cool off. Okay, we got the King's Barber from the King's Barber shop here. Make sure the players are looking fly. In this room, we have massages going on, so we need to be a bit quiet. It's a relaxation time for the players. So that's the Snipes Player Lounge. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let's get out of here.
That looks rather nice up there, actually. I actually have been in there. Yeah, I did. I went in there 2 days ago.
For the massage.
For a massage. It was fantastic. Yeah. It was fantastic. So thanks to Snipes for that.
They didn't even show everything there. They had like
there was loads
7
of other
different
stuff.
PCs
Exactly.
or computers and monitors set up with like old gaming stuff. There was like a Super Nintendo.
There's a
and
pinball machine in there.
There's a
they
sauna
showed
in there
that.
too. Did
There's
you
a
know
sauna
that?
in there? I didn't know there was a sauna.
There was a
in the
mini
bathroom.
sauna in there.
Really?
Yeah, like straight up.
Will, you seem to have experienced quite a lot of the Snipes Lounge.
Yes. So did Kevin. I mean, I watched Kevin play. You hugged the pinball machine.
I did. Yeah.
Until you got what score?
I think my high was 40 mil that night. I'm
Okay.
up to like 60. I got like 73
Are
mil
you-
this morning.
So, okay, let me get this right. So Owen's backstage right now grinding in Dota. And
Yeah, but he
you're-
has a bet to make.
And you're grinding pinball.
I was grinding
Okay.
pinball, but yeah.
I hope Owen's losing.
What's the high score so far? Does anyone keep track of this?
Kyle's high score was 80 mil.
80 million.
Yeah.
Okay. That sounds a lot to me. I don't play pinball, but it sounds a lot.
It's hard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
more
What's the
complicated.
all-time score on that machine?
It was
Keeps
like
that on there, doesn't
400
it?
mil, I think.
Is it
but
400?
But I think the leaderboard reset when the power went off because I checked it this morning and there was only one high score. So maybe it only has enough memory on the actual machine to keep track of one number or something.
Right. Maybe
'Cause
maybe
it's
it needs
just
an
the one.
upgrade from 4 meg to 8 meg.
I mean, I'm just glad the leaderboard reset. I got to put my name on it this morning.
Top of it.
Wow.
No, I'm 4th place. There was 2
Okay.
preset scores that were suspiciously round. It was like
Were
100 mil
they?
exactly.
Is that
80
like
mil
the standard
exactly.
ones that load onto the machine at
Yes.
the beginning?
But
Yeah.
they kept the 1 at the top. That was
Alright.
like 400 mil. So
Okay, well, that's interesting.
or 200 mil. I don't remember.
So I might have to check this out and see how good you.
That's fun.
I've never played pinball, so I don't know.
Seriously?
Hopefully
Isn't that what you guys did before transistors existed?
Nah, he's pool guy.
No, yeah, I was Paul. I was always Paul or snooker for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Put the
I hear
keys
you're a
out,
beast
whack-
in pool.
whack- I can play a bit.
Somebody, I think it was, I went to dinner with Ted and he talked it up. Trying to hustle people by
Ted-
downplaying
no,
it.
hey, whoa,
So,
hold
I
on, hold
play
on.
from time to time.
Hold on.
here and
I
there.
did not. I did not hustle. I was absolutely true. I used to play at a very high level back in the day, but like 20 years ago. But it's been a few years since I played regularly. I'm totally honest about it. But Ted now won't play pool without playing with me as a doubles partner. You know what we haven't done yet, and we should do? Well, we're waiting for the 2 teams to set up. Apparently there's some lobby issues, but they are getting onto it and they are trying to sort it out. Let's step into our social media questions because we haven't had a chance to talk to you and answer any questions that you might have. So let's take one now. This one is from Ellipso Blank. ESL One, do you still remember Razor?
The hero sucks. It's boring too.
Oh, I
Yeah.
thought he was talking about the barber in the Snipes
No.
Lounge.
I do like the hero. It's just it is pretty boring most of the time. It's like if you are behind, you don't farm very fast. You basically need to win your lane. It's like a almost more boring version of Viper right now.
Yeah.
Is how I describe it.
Viper's
does
kinda fun.
Viper's fun in my
Yeah.
opinion. I like both, and a lot of people don't. But I think Viper's definitely more fun than Razor. Razor's just got a lot of limitations, and you have to keep buying these items that don't fully match with the hero that you kind
Right.
of have to buy. So it's kind of limited.
Yeah. I guess the answer, Ellipso, is that no.
It's just a lot better heroes.
The
and
answer is no.
1v1s.
It's as simple as that. Do you know what? I'm hearing that the draft might actually have begun. So let's see whether we can get into the draft finally. between these two teams. Reminder for you as well, this is paiN versus Mineski. It is a very, very big match for both teams right now. They both language in the bottom 3 in Group A and need, if they can, to grab both points here because both have a very difficult final game. Secret final game for paiN, and Mineski will play Vici in their final game. So you would imagine that the way the results have gone so far, Will, it's likely they probably lose both of those games, and therefore this one becomes the actual game which could determine qualification.
Yeah. The way that it works is a bottom 2 in the group.
Yeah, bottom 2 are done. They're
Okay.
gone home, and the middle 2 go to the lower bracket, and the top 2 go to the upper bracket. So
Who does Alliance still have to play? Oh, Alliance has to play EG
Yeah.
and Secret.
Yeah.
So this, if paiN can 2-0 or if Mineski can 2-0, they
yeah,
would
then
actually
you'd
be...
feel like maybe they've definitely got the upper hand, but they could almost guarantee themselves going through. Mineski would move to 4-4 if they win 2-0 here, which would be huge for them.
Yeah.
So we will wait and see. Draft is underway, and we've got a first pick Necro for Mineski. Fairly standard bans on both sides. Anything stand out to you?
Phoenix moving up to round 1. Slightly surprised, but not much. Enigma moving up there. It's
Yeah,
a
we've seen
little bit of a trend from the
couple of
tournament.
first round bans in that from yesterday. The Wisp and the Tiny have been stable bans so far. They've only got out a couple of times. Wisp 3 times, Tiny twice, and won both of those games as well. So 100% pickle ban.
I think the big story is just Enigma has won a lot of games so far this tournament, so I think it being in the first phase here is definitely the meta shifting a little bit. A lot of teams getting wins from the lane win and then late game team fight stuff.
Why has it been so successful, do you think?
Denying your range creeps just gives you a lane advantage. You're a ranged hero with a bunch of units, so there's a lot of heroes that you match up okay against, and then being able to just BKB Midnight Pulse Black Hole is just so good against a lot of different heroes. Just kind of guarantees you team fight wins more or less, so forces your opponents to pick against you, kind of flexible what it does. It's just good in a lot of ways. You can buy so many different items, like you're very item flexible.
Yeah, just to update you on the group standings. paiN are 2-4, Mineski are 2-4, Alliance are 2-4. EG are just above them all with 3-3 right now. Secret and Vici obviously out ahead, 4-2, 5-1 respectively. paiN so far have taken a game off both Alliance and Evil Geniuses, but there is an argument now that this probably should have taken a couple more games too. So I wonder whether they'll live to regret that. They've gone for an Elder Titan for their second pick. Is that the first one we've seen in this tournament? Certainly
might
on
be.
this stream.
I haven't seen it.
Still good hero sometimes. Definitely pretty good at shutting down a Nature's Prophet. From split pushing. You can catch him if he jukes into trees or sprouts himself, so you can still disable him. It's also very good against baiN in that way. If baiN tries to get a Fiend's Grip off, you're always ready if you're within spirit range to interrupt that pretty quick.
You also dissuade them from taking the TB.
Yeah, that's true. Lowers armor, plus it's synergized really well with Necro too, because you're going to lower magic resistance wherever the spirit is, so it's going to really help with Reaper Scythe kills.
It's
Right
only
now-
the second time we've seen it for Mineski in 7.19 as well. It's not been a popular pick across 1.9 patches actually. It's only been picked 59 times, winning only 20 of them. 33.9% win rate in 7.19 plus.
I think people are starting to realize what a threat TB represents to everyone. And so I think it's how can you deal with this hero? Who has the easiest
So
way
it's
to
an
deal with this hero?
advanced pick for that
Yeah, exactly.
in anticipation.
Plus, it's good against, like Kevin said, against the other two heroes.
Yeah.
So it sort of rounds things up, and it leaves things relatively open enough because you can always switch that to an offlane ET. You can move that Necro over to safe lane or mid. Like, both heroes are relatively flexible.
baiN's been a popular pick first 2 days here.
Yeah, it's kind of weaved in and out of usefulness or just ignored, I would say. Forward Gaming definitely likes it a lot. It's great with Mirana combos. We haven't seen a Mirana ban here, so very good chance that paiN Gaming will snag it here. But it just wins lanes, can rotate pretty well. It has really crappy AoE, but in terms of lane potential and late game team fight, it's pretty solid.
Final bans are in. We've seen more PL bans from paiN Gaming. That's PL started to creep into those second phase bans, isn't it?
Yes, I mean it's kind of I would more describe it as PL has kind of phased out of tier 1 picks. Like it doesn't get picked in the first phase, kind of like he was at TI. He's been nerfed just enough where people don't want to pick him first phase. They'll pick him second phase. Therefore, he's pretty much often banned second phase.
Yeah, Drow also receiving a similar kind of treatment recently as well. It's been popular picked over the last 4 weeks. And we've
Which
seen a
hero?
lot of Drow. We've seen
Sure,
a lot of first round bans as well as second phase ones if it does creep through. A bounty, we did see this in the previous series as well.
It's a popular paiN hero. It's definitely been trending a little more. Secret played it as an off lane earlier today. It ended up kind of being a support later, but
Yeah. They used to
Make it work.
love this hero, Will, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean, every team used to love this hero.
But paiN specifically, I feel like 5-6 months ago, probably just before ESL One Birmingham, it was one of those things that they really put a lot of stock in.
I think the main issue with the hero now, though, or why people pick it and paiN pick it less, is that it doesn't provide any sort of team fight.
No.
You sort of have to understand, like, this hero's gonna make you play 4-on-5 because he has no utility in his hero, right? You just kind of sit there, you throw out tracks, you hope for the best. And similarly, Nature's Prophet is the same hero in that regard. Because the one thing that Moon Meander used to always tell me about heroes like this is, like, they can't fight. So what you have to do is you have to outmaneuver them. You're never supposed to get into a straight 5-on-5. The way that it works is you're never supposed to smoke his 5 into their 5. He said you'll lose that fight every time, no matter how farmed those two heroes are. Just think about what skills they have.
Yeah, we're
Nature's
gonna-
Prophet doesn't have a stun.
We're going to third pick Jakiro. Not really in the meta right now, as much as I love the hero. There's only really EVOS of the teams that are here that have been picking it on a regular basis.
It's good against NP because he's one of the few heroes I can trade with him because Breathe Fire is a nice AoE spell too against the Treants. Yeah. He has such a friendly expression. It's terrible facial hair, but
You can tell him, I'm telling him.
and the hair in general. His team always makes fun of it now. They say it looks like a rug.
It's the first time that Mineski picked up the Jakiro since 7.18.
I think it's just in response to what they see so far. So
Very,
Mineski
very
needs
situational.
so Mineski needs some kind of stun or disable to go with it too. I'd be okay with like a hero like Bloodseeker or something against the Weaver.
Bloodseeker probably lane's kind of okay against Prophet too, right? So you can just heal from his trees and
Oh, they take Meepo. Oh,
okay.
Ow.
It's a free Meepo game too.
Yow.
It's a very nice Meepo game. So whatever aspirations that paiN Gaming had of team fighting is pretty much gone.
Ugh.
They have no disables aside from the paiN.
Okay. Well, are they going to be looking at the Brood on the way back?
So paiN did think they were going to go for the Bloodseeker, by the way.
Yeah,
It's the last
they
ban.
did, yeah.
Because I think it counters their entire team, more or less. And it's one of the best heroes against Weaver. If you're Mineski, you maybe like last ban. You could think about last banning Invoker or something, or I would ban maybe Invoker, Shaker, one of those two heroes, something like that.
some Meepo counter.
Yeah. I mean, I think Invoker's nice against all those heroes.
This is the first Meepo pick of the group stage.
It's a 4th pick Meepo too. That's aggressive.
I mean, it is really good against a lot of their heroes, like against Prophet and Bounty and Weaver. It's so good against all those. Even against baiN. baiN has no AoE.
Highest rated bans.
Lycan's always there.
Lycan.
Yeah, like and punch.
They
should
really
just,
don't
like-
want to see Lycan.
Not a
It's-
huge amount of active synergy in there, but plenty of threats.
You never know with the last pick. Like, there was a draft that Secret did earlier today where another synergy was there, but then all of a sudden that 5th pick, all of a sudden there was just green everywhere in arrows. It was it's maybe something hard to see right now.
Was that the last game they played? The second one?
Yeah, maybe it was the first draft, I think.
Yeah, it's the first draft in the last
The one they
series.
lost?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Alright, so you got one ban. I think it's one of those two bans. And then if you're Mineski, I need to look at the...
Ursa would have been pretty good.
Ursa,
I kind of
yeah.
like that. Yeah, they have really weak disabled to lockdown people that run at them, and Ursa would be able to deal with the Meepo pretty easy. So
What about like something like Void or something for Mineski? I know it doesn't synergize well with the Meepo, but it's good for the rest of the game. It's good against all these heroes.
isn't it just a little too team fight reliant? Won't they just fight constantly? Because all of paiN Gaming's heroes fight really low cooldown.
Yeah, but paiN has no team fight right now. So
Okay.
how do you start a fight? Oh, so they take Temper. Okay,
Okay.
it's interesting.
Timber's pretty good too. I mean, paiN is pretty heavily physical. Like 3 of their heroes are mostly physical. So
Yeah. So if you're paiN right now, you need some sort of hero that just kills everything. And
both Meepo and Timber saw, which are very different.
I don't know if Timber still feels like kind of a bad hero. Maybe it's good for this game because they think he can lane against the NP. But we'll see. paiN needs some like all-encompassing hero. I think Invoker's still okay. I
mean, Timbersaw counters on paper is like Death Prophet, OD, Razor, Ursa, Gyro. But
a lot of those heroes aren't prevalent.
Yeah.
I guess it explains the Ursa ban now.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. Against the Timber.
Yeah.
So final pick from paiN Gaming. That Meepo, by
It's
the
gotta
way,
be
is
a Wii high hero, right? And
Leshrac, maybe? That would be kind of okay against Timber. It'd be kind of weak to Necro, I feel like.
I feel like you want some sort of carry. Yeah. I felt pretty good about this pick.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it does lots of
really
magic
cool.
damage, so it kind of works against Meepo and Timber, potentially. Not to mention, like, Spirit Vessel, Cold Snap will work really good against Timber.
I think the only way that I was willing to move away from them last picking Invoker is if the 5th hero did anything about it. But I feel like the 5th hero didn't change anything. It was like a Timber saw. You're still excellent against Timber because you have a high amount of magic burst damage.
Synergies on both teams. Just going to see the paiN side has a lot more synergy. In fact, all 5 in some way or another have a synergy within the team, and only the Necro and the Meepo on the Mineski side, and there's plenty of threats on both of those sides as well. It's only the 4th game, professional game, in 7.19 where Meepo's been second phase picked. Just not something we see. And why is that, Kevin?
Their draft looked confident at that point. They already saw 4 of their opponent's heroes.
Yeah.
Therefore, and because of their pick order, they got to choose their 4th hero as they already saw 4. They saw 4 out of 5, knowing Meepo's good against them.
Yeah.
They felt like it was comfortable to pick. And that's probably one of the reasons they don't have as many synergy bars, is because they know that that hero works really well against theirs. They feel confident with that, and they just had to pick their 5th. It just works out.
Okay. Let's do some predictions. Will, which way do you bet against the Meepo? It's 50-50 right now in 7.19. If you wanted to, any statistical help?
I really want to lean towards the Invoker team because I think it's a really good Invoker game. I think it's one of the better Invoker games I've ever seen. But I still think that Mineski probably just have too much team fight.
I like the Meepo and Timber core solutions. I feel like they are good enough against the enemy heroes that they'll be fine this game, and they can mostly do what they want, and they should be able to push that to a victory.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting fight between these two. Thank you very much, gents. Time to head to our commentators who get the joy of commentating on a Meepo game. It's a big game too as we head into game number 1 between Mineski and paiN Gaming.
Yes, Meepo games are always a lot of fun, and even better, we've got a Weehaw Invoker. In fact, it looks like a really good Invoker game.
Yeah, but then you're like, but then there's Meepo, and it's like, it's fun for us.
Yeah.
It's not so fun when you're actually in the game.
No.
And I feel like Timber shares a lot of those like similarities too, because this Timber saw, like, he wants me in a lane where he feels unkillable. He wants me behind your tower while the thing's still at full HP, and you just feel like you can't deal with them. So that's the question to me. Can Mineski actually get this Timber saw to that state that he needs to be?
Yeah.
Or is he just gonna fall off and be completely worthless? Looks like a very scrappy game for sure.
This is definitely going to put Meepo's, or not Meepo, Weehaw's carrying abilities to the test. Right, because this game is entirely on him. He is the only answer to Timbersaw as well as Meepo.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how well Tavo does too. I feel like Tavo has some serious heroes he can pick on this game. Like Elder Titan Jakiro, like as a Weaver, what are they gonna do?
Yeah.
Maybe you have to run away from a stomp, but then you just re-engage. As long as he's cautious with his Shikuchis, it feels pretty good.
Mushi is dead.
he's quite...
Oh, the healing salve! He's going to get a little bit more time, but surely, if he uses the healing salve and still dies, which he dies, and he gives the kill to HFN as well, aka Archangel on the Nature's Prophet. That one treant.
Not your typical hard carry there. Oh, beautiful little tips though, for the NP. It's good too. And Tavo gets it, so 3-1 for all paiN Gaming here. Excellent start with the first blood.
First blood. Get 3 bounty runes. You're gonna have probably. Now here's the laning phase. Gonna go Weaver versus Necro. Like that is problematic for the Weaver because none of your harassment works against the Necro, and all his harassment works against you.
But he has to like get in range for the death balls, and maybe it's gonna be a little bit awkward. This ET's probably not gonna do all too much. And at least you're a hero that'll give space to a bounty hunter. You don't really need him up top with you, which is certainly something that will be a requirement in this game. Oh man, Southeast Asia. Everyone's got a Meepo. That's that region, man.
I swear I swear at Red Bull, I heard Clairvoyance was talking to like monkeys, and he said, "Yeah, we don't have a Meepo player."
Well,
Apparently, he was just blatantly lying.
I believe so. That sounds like Claire. Yeah.
Or hey, maybe we'll see JT's Meepo, and he just
maybe they don't.
maybe they don't have a Meepo player. We're about to find out, aren't we?
We
had another
did have
kill.
a kill. Yeah,
the
Jakiro
bottom
went
lane.
down. I mean, this ET Jakiro sounds super sick as a support duo when the fights start.
Yeah.
But before that, it's a little awkward.
Oh, they're gonna get. Okay, he's very dead. That is so much damage on Febby.
It was a typical bounty hunter contribution right there, the laning phase.
You watched it happen.
Just
TP'd away.
Oh, this lane doesn't look like any fun. I'm gonna go try and pick on some other lane.
I mean, it is the right idea, though, right? He
Yeah.
cannot go in the 3 versus 3 lane. He's got to just try and take a numbers advantage wherever he goes in this laning phase. Here, it's going to be going for KP, but the mid lane, they're going to go for the poof, poof, poof. But JT, he's got a cold snap on one of his Meepos, but Weehaw is forced away. The Force Spear can finish off that Meepo. He boosts back in to get the Invoker kill, and he does manage to get it over the top lane. It's going to be the Necrophos chased down eventually by that King RD Tavo, and JT eventually did die.
I'm
on
guessing
his
that was
Meepos.
intentional, though, right? Because like the Invoker was still dead. He probably wanted to die, come back full HP and everything. I guess you're a
Maybe.
Meepo, though, so there's certain...
He was also deep under tower with
Yeah.
Forge Spirit on him, so...
There's certain shenanigans that might be a little difficult to get out of there as a Meepo.
Bottom lane, we had a Stomp go out, HFN, sleep put on Namushi. That'll stop a lot of that damage, so... It's weird seeing a Timber Saw tri lane. Oh, he's gonna get him again, JT! The Sunstrike goes down, shared between the two Meepos, throws out the Ice. Oh, no,
the
it's not
post
enough.
TP kill. That feels real good.
JT is swagging on Weehaw right now.
Yeah. That's an excellent start, but as you're saying, Timber Saw in a tri-lane, so this isn't really that like killer start to a Timber Saw that you typically want to have, but I mean, this is also Nature's Prophet that isn't dominating his lane, which is sort of an issue just in that regard. Timber really needs level 3 before he feels nice and beefy.
Misery trying around, brain tapping on Mushi. Mushi low, but the Stomp is going to hit the two of them. Mushi's going to set it up, but Sunstrike! That'll give Weehaw a kill at least. Both of them are quite low. Misery's going to try and be run down by Febby, who turns around, manages to get it to sleep, walks away. Now Moon looks to be able to collect that kill into the trees, fakes it out. Misery just juked out Moon. Timber Chain, it's going to be a long one if Moon hopes to be able to get this kill. Not even going to try.
I can't believe he didn't just try and like TP out or something with that Nightmare, and he still manages to survive. And now he's going to
Look
stick
at
in the
Misery.
lane.
What is happening? Isn't he just going to get Timber Chain to die?
Well,
Yes.
you know, you win some, you lose some.
I've never seen Misery be so suicidal in my life. He just was asking for death.
Yeah, it truly was. I don't know. I feel like these safe lane players, they kind of beg their supports to die sometimes. It's like, yeah, but now you can get my courier items because the mid's always hogging it. So
Yeah.
clearly the strategy here.
Now you can come back full health, full mana,
Ah.
just like Febby is doing here. We're suiciding to the tier 2. That way he can get back to lane, have that effectiveness. Sunstrike, that's going to miss on JT. He read it well, but his other Meepo is quite low. And so he will have to try and pick up a rune to offset things. It's not a regen, it's a double damage.
And one of the benefits here, you have one of the like only position 5s or supports even that help push structures in the Jakiro. Pretty much just Jakiro, I guess Nature's Prophet, and then Shadow Shaman in terms of our more common supports these days. So that'll make up for like the Necrophos and the Timber Saw.
So JT, his last Meepo game all the way back on Genesis. So pretty much this is his first pro game of Meepo put to the test.
Yeah, well, that's pretty fair, I think.
Yeah. Misery. Again, just surprised he's not brains dead, you know?
Yeah, putting the back and pull down
Wants to be
everything,
low.
and yeah, maybe try to bait some stuff in. But playtime's over down there. You know, 2 points in reactive armor. Life is hard.
Yeah. Look at Jakiro. I think he's read the fact that Bounty Hunter's probably there, so he's gonna go try and get the other bounty rune. Misery does manage to get one, so we're gonna have a 2-for-2 trade-off. But KP looks like he's gonna die here. Does manage to get off the ghost round, but doesn't have the mana to be able to heal himself. But Tavo didn't really get in position. The Sunstrike though, that'll get it. Weehaw slowly getting back into this game off of the Sunstrike kills, and they'll kill Mushi as
This is
well.
so good. A bounty hunter, the killing spree of 5.5 minutes. That is the dream. Like we had the game earlier today where they were using it as a core role for Zai, just to get those early levels. But here, you're basically getting to the same point Zai was at while roaming.
They certainly need a heavy jump start, right? With a Fury on Bounty Hunter, like sort of lineup, you don't have any team fight. You just need like very early pickoffs. And you can try and snowball off that, but they can't afford to lose their Furion here, who's going to be body blocked by Fevy. Fevy gets in front of him once again. HFN now ensnared down by the Meatbow. Poofed in, takes the kill.
And Jakiro gets to soak up a little bit of experience and gold in the mid lane too, during all that. So very happy about that, I'm sure.
Even finds a haste rune to help him defend that mid tower a little bit better. Now Tavo getting damage onto KP. KP wants to be able to kill the bug, then pops the Ghost Shroud afterwards to make sure the bug doesn't continue its minus armor, but KP is still going to take a ton of damage. It looks like he will fall. Tavo's going to be okay. He can actually turn and fight Fevy here simply because he's got another round of Shikuchi, gets him through him, gets another Geminate attack in. That's going to be that Earth Spirit down. But the mid lane, they did kill Weehaw once again.
Yeah, that kind of works out relatively evenly, honestly. Trying, you know, your mid for two other heroes, not that great, which is support in the safe laner. But Misery, are you gonna be okay this time? You just playing around with them?
Look at that, that's so smart. You see what he just did? He pulled the creeps off the tower, leaving the siege wagon there, hoping that the tower would kill the siege wagon.
Yeah, I'm assuming Timber is just standing in it though.
Yeah, unfortunately Timbersaw put himself in range.
Yeah, those darn Timber players.
Timber chains through. Now Moon is a little low, but it's a Furion coming in. He can't do anything to threaten the Timbersaw. Maybe he can, you know, inconvenience him a little bit with Sprout. Does hate trees.
Good job. Any tips?
Good. Wow. Misery is salty. Why do you tip Weehaw? Now the Sunstrike comes through, and oh god, please tell me they're gonna kill him. Oh no, they didn't kill him. Moon, he's getting away. He's already up to 100 HP off the regen. Misery's not gonna be there for the brain zap.
A hero that relies on a bunch of tiny little taps, not very good against Timbersaw.
No.
All those treants and just right clicks.
Not at all.
Completely worthless.
Honestly, I'm surprised they didn't put like Tavo 1v1 in bottom lane or something. It's still not going to be good against Timbersaw. Timbersaw's good answer to both of those cores, but nice deny of the ward. The wraparound though. They're gonna go for JT. They don't care about Mushi. The Sunstrike. Okay, well they still have the meteor that should take out JT and gets a lot of damage on Mushi as well. Might be able to kill him. King RD manages to barely survive through that last tower shot. Double kill for Weehaw.
Okay, man, Weehaw, considering these like ganks and everything, in fact the 5-3-0, he's very good at getting those Sunstrike kills to help out with that early gold and some experience too.
Okay, as we said early on, right? He's gonna be the game-winning hero here for paiN. He's got to get off to a good start.
I think it's very tricky this game. Like, the Nature's Prophet is probably the easiest core to kill on the Radiant side. But other than that, they just don't have really good setup for anything. Like, this Stomp and just, like, walking out of it.
Stomp hits Weehaw. That's an important kill. Misery trying to... He's like, please, no, take me instead. But the Tornado is actually going to save Weehaw's life here. He doesn't need the extra help unless JT can land that ensnare. Tries to go for the dodge, but JT read the dodge. Is still able to still hit it. Deafening Blast pushed him back a little bit, but he still has the slowdown.
Wow, I actually can't believe he got that net. I think the Courier kind of tipped him off there. I don't even think he had vision, so. A little bit brutal on that one. As Tavo and KP just still going at it up here.
Tavo's got to be careful, especially with that Necrophos hitting his level 6. Has the Reaper Scythe ready to go.
Yeah, we're still waiting on that one. So this is a Timber that's relatively okay considering starting a tri-lane, maybe not the most experienced, but last set's still pretty fine, 55-2. And he'll likely want to try and push his presence onto somewhere else, as you know, you don't really want to go all the way in that tier 2 in the bottom lane, so he just kind of camps himself mid.
Decent timed earn for our Bounty Hunter. Again, really important item, right? We need this Bounty Hunter to get to his level 7 as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So he has solo kill potential with the Sunstrike edition, right?
Yeah, and it is about tome time, so he'll be getting that. He's got enough experience that the tome will push him up. And they can just start roaming. I mean, you have Misery too to help set up for Sunstrikes too. Misery.
He has
that
to run
is
through
painful.
the Chakram to pick up the Bounty Rune. Moon may still be able to catch up to him. Long range Timber Chain does cut him down. Also, I heard a Reaper Scythe. Don't think that actually got anything. King RD does get something for his trouble though. Managed to pick up that Courier. Febby's gonna be chased down by the Shikuchi. Moon couldn't stop that from happening.
Bounty Hunter coming into effect. Didn't even have to commit any deep wards there either.
King RD just tastes it up, run straight at Mushi. Managed to get to Weehaw. This extra
triple,
kill with a
maybe?
Fiend's Grip as well. That's going to be a triple kill for Weehaw.
Man, a Bounty Hunter off to such a good start. An Invoker just going crazy. A Scythe that hit nothing. Things coming up very well for paiN.
Yeah, they really are. Now they've got a Nightmare Sunstrike and a Bouncing Shuriken onto Feb. He takes a lot of damage, but the Raindrop helps him survive through all of it. The important thing is push him back, get that tower for Weehaw, who, again, Weehaw did actually take the tower last hit, so.
All that gold.
They're literally just funneling gold into him as much as possible.
And another quick pick from JT, though, with the sentry down. Now, this is one thing about why Bounty Hunter has probably fallen off just a little bit. Sentries are just brutal right now, man.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like Shadowblade is just garbage. These position 5s who just buy 8 sentries and cover their whole part of the map for 6 minutes is so painful to play against.
Moon, Sunstrike on top of him. He's going to take a lot of magic damage to start, but Moon still has a decent amount of HP. He's only going to get tankier, plus KP heals him a bit. Furion ult going down. Misery still going to try and wrap around here from the side. Again, hitting that Nightmare.
Look at these Treants. They're surviving Chakrams and Death Pulses. And there's still a couple of them willing away.
They're actually going to try and come forward with JT hitting the double ins there, but the pushback, and now with the blast, they managed to take him down. He didn't get the damage he thought he was going to be able to. He'll just be able to blow up Weehaw, who's still trying to get away from Moon, but the Timber Chain will be able to get him. Now with the Bouncing Shuriken, that's going to do a lot of damage. They have Tavo running right through with the Shikuchi. He's going to be able to help get the Necrophos as well as the pickup on the Jakiro. Oh, another Timber Chain managed to cut down the Bounty Hunter. Next up is going to be Tavo. Shikuchi's going to run out. Moon didn't keep pursuing, but Timber Chain, oh, it was so close to landing.
That was a pretty wild ice path, though. Like, in the middle of these fights, like, it's very difficult to get good ice paths and good stomps off when, like, a fight's just kind of beginning. But if you can abuse that chaos factor like that, where the Jakiro just kind of sees everyone's clumping on one hero, lays down the ice path, creates the good ultimate for the ET, too. So, nice recovery considering how that fight started with the instant obliteration of JT. So, it will just be a 2K lead now for paiN Gaming as Tavo plays it a bit risky.
Grip, right as he uses the Timber Chain. They do have the stomp, but the Sunstrike, it's almost enough. They may not have enough damage. He's already, oh no, he missed the Timber Chain. The physical damage from Tavo is only healing him. Look at that. He's got so many reactive armor stacks. He's okay.
Bless Moon for going for the hood first. So many of these Timber Saws lately have just been skipping and just like going right for Bloodstone or something. And
they really want Moon dead, but they're just not going to have it. Maybe they'll get the Elder Titan instead. Bebby gave up his life. It's still a track kill, though.
That's true. You always say it's like, oh, it's fine. It's just support. You know, we saved our Timber Saw.
Oh no, the Meepo got caught.
Right after the poof too. Yeah, he's just gone instantly. HFN just comes in for the assist there, trying to get some goal for himself. Well, I guess Claire was right.
Nah, let's be real. JT did pretty well for himself. I mean, he really won that mid lane matchup. But
yeah, he did.
Invoker is a pretty good counter to Meepo. Just that raw damage laying out.
All this AoE too. Yeah, no, there's no doubt. But
he's got vision with the track, so he'll be able to get all the bounces from his ultimate, stop the TP as well, coming out from the Jakiro. Now setting up on that Necrophos. Sunstrike leading the way, already down to half HP. KP instantly heals himself back up to full, though. And with the stomp, kind of warding them away. Don't want to take that team fight any further. Almost got the Maelstrom.
It's kind of interesting. I guess him and Weaver going for him then, eh? Or is NP going for a Deso? Is that... No, he's going Maelstrom too, right?
I mean, he's got the orb. Maybe he is going Deso. Can we see the
Seems unnecessary.
What's on Furion's quick buy?
Thanks, buddy. Yeah, it's just Maelstrom.
He just has the orb. I was like, that'd be really weird.
Yeah, I think they just need the magic damage, right? It's Necrophos and Timber Saw. It's definitely way better. So, fine by me. And
it's just one of those things you like to start with the orb.
Yeah, exactly. It's very good with Treants. But I'm sure they're kind of starting to think things like the life of Roche, but once again, that is one way they can actually set up a good-looking fight for Mineski with Jakiro and ET.
They got the scan on Moon, and now his TP is canceled.
Look at that track, like outside the screen.
That is a perfect sad trombone moment right there.
Jeez, that's usually paiN that's on point with the chat wheels. You know, gotta give some credit over there to old Moon.
Yeah.
They're on point with the tips at least, though. You know, paiN claiming their true glory.
And we've also got, apparently Moon has played a good amount of Timber Saw. He's got the chat wheel going on, just like Weeha's Invoker had earlier. Wrap around here in the mid lane. They don't have like an instant stun, right? They have like, I hope I hit the stomp, and if that doesn't happen, well,
That's just
sucks.
Meepo, and that's why JT's dying, because he's like blinking into these fights and he's the first initiator, and they don't have, like, the defense is not quick enough.
Tower deny, or maybe they're just gonna kill Mushi. Mushi gives up his life to make sure, well, he actually didn't get it. Weeha denied the tower, and Mushi died.
Yeah, they had a couple right clicks coming through at once from paiN, so the liquid fire tick wasn't enough. The old triple Wraith Band into E-Blade.
Luring him. Oh, they spot him for a moment, didn't quite get the track though. JT is gonna try and blow up the Weaver. They knew he was there, but Tavo still managed to get off his ultimate. Can he get away though? Oh no, he doesn't. The damage over time coming out from JT was enough to kill the Weaver. Slept up, Timber Chain. Not gonna go through here, but Febby. And there's still JT on the back lines. These two supports can't do anything without their cores.
Yeah, Weeha's just a little bit busy finishing up Aghanim Scepter, so don't take this fight. Chill it for a minute. He is close to some sentries up there, but the rest of the Dire team is just going to leave, so. Yeah, Weeha pretty much good to go. Pushing into the tier 2s. Things get a little bit riskier, you could say. I think, you know, those trees start to clump up a little bit. You got yourself that Jakiro and the Elder Titan, so still have to be cautious about their positioning on paiN, but so far, like, not very many pickoffs. Again, as you pointed out, just they don't have those instant stuns on the side of Mineski, so, like, HFN's just got a free game.
All right, this is like, they've gone on Timbersaw so many times, but sometimes they get him where he's just completely alone. And that's where the Fiend's Grip, Sunstrike, do wonders. Really nice.
That's just my concern about Timber in general, is that if he just doesn't have this lane where he absolutely brutalizes
The stomp, is it gonna save Mushi? No, that doesn't actually hit Weeha, but here comes JT. Now Weeha realizes he's in a world of hurt, gets off the Tornado, Misery. He's coming in soon, he's trying to save Weeha. They might be able to get him with a Deafening Blast, slowing down all that damage. Weeha gets away. Now the Meepo needs to be able to save everyone, but he can't get the last one out. It's being controlled. Oh, maybe he did. It has a Spirit Vessel on him. It's ticking down. The Death Pulse barely healed it up, and it was just enough with the Sunstrike. He dodged it. JT, he read Weeha like a book.
Two tracked Meepos.
Oh, God.
Guys, it's tracked.
They're all tracked.
You can see it.
Get it. No.
Oh, no.
The shot is coming.
It's
It's got him. No miss here. HFN will lose his life for that, but well worth it. I mean, kill that Meepo.
the mental strain that JT must have just been going through right there. All to just die in the end.
I would be hyperventilating if I was oh God, oh God, oh God. Tavo, thinking about it. Misery's already dead. Moon just executes him so quickly.
And he's going for Yules next, so he's not going to go for like the greedier Bloodstone build. I think he understands that the pickoffs are a bit too easy on him, so
especially
don't risk it.
Seeing as the way they want to play with this Timbersaw, like he's playing alone a lot of times, just split pushing and such. Yeah, Weeha's Invoker has had quite the game. 12 kills.
Jeez, 9 more kills than average, or 8, I suppose, if you want to round up. But quite a few less last hits, but I think that's okay. You know, you'll trade those for a couple more kills.
His net worth not looking quite as hot as some of the others, but HFN is actually above the Meepo right now, which is excellent news for paiN.
Yeah, he's been showing up to almost every single kill, and again, lack of stuns. They haven't been able to just pick him off on the side lanes or anything, so he just keeps on firing.
And that's why the Timbersaw is always by himself, right? Because the Furion is split pushing so much and causing those issues, they can't address him while their lanes are always pushed in. And they have to spread out to deal with it, otherwise they'll just lose towers.
Yeah, they're investing quite a bit in sentries too from the Radiant side as well, just to try and disable any sort of observer sentry combos from Mineski, and that's giving a lot of freedom over to King RD. So he's just keeping an eye on them, and that's what gives him the space for a very easy peasy Roche. Just like this is a lineup that you really want to catch that Roche fight. That would be so good for you as Mineski, but just way too much vision from the bounty.
Oh, Moon. Managed to get the Timber Chain before the Sprout could catch him. Good force staff from KP.
He's got a real hard game.
Yeah.
He's a sight button. But, you know, that can sometimes just like win you the mid game. A couple good sights on something like this Invoker. Maybe force an ugly buyback just because he doesn't want to wait that long.
What do you build next as KP, though? Like, as you said, it's a hard game.
Yeah.
Like, do you try and address the magic damage that's coming at you?
They have a hood on Timber, and he's probably not going to build pipes, so theoretically you could do that. He has a force staff, I think, too, on the Necrophos, so It's really awkward. I don't think he's doing any sort of damage amp for sure.
Got the lift time for the Invoker now. The Tornado going to be a lot more effective in setting up these Sunstrike Meteors. And they still have 4 whole minutes to make use of this Aegis. Once he has BKB, Weeha's Invoker, there's nothing to stop him.
Yeah, he is terrifying at that point. All these disables are just like so like they're so obvious when they come from Mineski. You just you see them coming with the stomp or even the ice path, but
Moon putting himself on the front line is going to be slept up to start things off. Track being placed on him. All of Mineski, or most of them, sitting behind him. Mushi, a little bit out of position there, but doesn't get slept.
yeah, I'm surprised they didn't just commit grip, to be honest. All right, that's probably why. Track's pretty good.
It's very hard to disengage against
is.
this.
Yeah, it's maybe not the best catch hero stun-wise, but just the track. Like, you have a Weaver who can just like chase after you. You have obviously Sunstrikes like this. I mean, KP's clearly just giving away with this Death Pulse. And he's just gonna go grab it. He's like, I don't want this thing following me.
Is that BKB for the Invoker we just got? Damn. No, not him. Someone else got BKB.
Oh, HFN.
HFN
All that
has
money stacking up. I like that. The turret Nature's Property. Just stand there.
Misery gonna be caught here. Reaper Scythe if they want, but they okay. He was really deciding on that one. They may be just trading supports as Mushi's gonna go down, but what an ultimate out. They're gonna be able to catch all 3 of them. Weeha gets pulled in as well, managed to get off the Tornado, gets himself some distance, so it looks like Mineski won't be able to catch up, but boy, what a hit from Febby.
Okay, we're back. They finally commit to any sort of a fight on the enemy side of the map, and suddenly they actually hit their wombo combo there. Unfortunately, it was just after the Roche. Would have been a great moment to maybe try and take Roche for themselves, but that delays them by a long time for the side of paiN, and that's probably going to mean this Aegis, at best, gets that tier 2 like top, I would say, is probably the easiest one to go for if they wanted to, but even then, it's going to take a while for them to rally troops, push out their lanes, so I think this Aegis just didn't get any objectives.
Yeah. And I think that's still kind of okay for paiN just because the power spike of their BKBs is going to be so strong.
Yeah.
You would hate to try and get into a fight with your Invoker and have him die twice because you didn't run away from BKB.
The clump is beginning here for Mineski.
Part of the problem with the clump, man. This core HFN Nature's Prophet. Those early levels of his ultimate, you just kill so many creeps around the map. It's very difficult to keep your side lanes pushed in.
He's a lot of faith in Weeha to not be going for any sort of control as well. Like, he's just raw, pure damage when they don't really have the best control over on their team. It's just all that kind of like skirmishy chase down between tracks and bugs, and Weeha is really the only control option. Plus baiN, of course, but usually that gets committed pretty early.
I can appreciate that, right? Because that was part of the problem when they had their first 4 heroes. They needed damage really badly. Invoker certainly helped with that. The item builds from HFN will do a lot as well. No EMP out from Weeha, not bothering. Instead, maybe,
oh no.
They managed to get the stomp. No ice path though. They're gonna spot him now, get the Reaper's Sight, just take him out. That'll be the first life though. That Aegis was wearing out pretty soon, but they couldn't wait. They're gonna try and get the ice path, the second life. They have the BKB for Weeha. Now he's gonna turn around, throw out the Meteor, 4 staff away. KP still clipped by the Deafening Blast, but is plenty healthy. So Weeha's just used his BKB and may still be caught. The Chakram's gonna slow him down. He's gonna try and run his way out of that one. The Timber Chain's not gonna catch him. Moon goes the wrong direction. Now the ice path, that's gonna miss as well. JT is still trying to make his entrance into the back line, but misses out of the meat bow. He couldn't get the baiN. Moon turning around, trying to fight up HFN, who's taking a lot of damage, but it's all physical, so the Timbersaw's gonna be fine. Mushi may not be so fine. He barely ran outside the range. JT ends up falling. KP is gonna be cleaned up by Tavo as well. And now Mineski on full retreat, cuts down the trees for Febby. The two of them trying to make it away, but Febby does not have the same kind of mobility. Moon, you can't really hide in the trees with track on you, my friend. Timber Chains through. HFN does not have the BKB, but Moon knows he's so outnumbered, he may not be able to make it out. The Sunstrike sleep goes down. It actually caught him before, right as the Sunstrike landed, but as long as they have the disables, they should have the damage. Managed to get off the Bloodstone tonight, but still.
Man, HFN just like pushed back the entirety of Mineski on the top of the tree line, and then that allowed Weehaw to kind of like bail out of that upper engagement. Comes down to help Misery, who was just narrowly hanging on up against that Meepo. Heads use a Nightmare, then he's Fiend Script too, but
Mushi, Sunstrike, it's gonna land on him. And they're already going high ground. Now they have no Jakiro. They have no Jakiro. What is Mushi doing? Wasn't he supposed to be top lane to stop this push? To Macro Pyre, to Ice Path. Well, at least they've got Moon. They do have this Necrophos in position, already slept up, so he's not going to be able to help him get the kill. And with the Cold Snap, Moon can't cast any spells to be able to stop Misery from getting away. He'll have to go for the long chase of the Timber Chain. Will be able to throw out a Chakram dodge by Misery. Looking for a second one, but he's going to be Nightmare instantly woken up by KP. Misery now puts himself in a dead-end area just to survive a little bit longer.
maybe he'll go through too quickly and miss me.
JT missing the pick off there on the bounty hunter he was searching for. HFN has 5,500 correction net worth above this Meepo. That is insane, because a Meepo is supposed to have, he's a little bit like an alchemist, right? He's supposed to have higher.
I mean, look at that though. The lane creep is just absolutely insane. HFN's been everywhere this game.
Now the Meteor coming in with the Cold Snap. They can't get that one Meepo away. This combination is just a Meepo killer.
It's just so free with the BKB too. Like, there's no punish on the side of Mineski.
And HFN is, because of the BKB choice, he could just really TP in super deep. And no one can really challenge him while he's magic immune.
This game got really hard when JT died like 3 times right out of the laning phase. It's just like, I mean, it's a Meepo, you know? You're giving away so much every time you die. You're trying to snowball super hard. But paiN played it really well. They coordinated with the tracks. They had a lot of good Sunstrike kills to help Weehaw, even though that lane went so well for JT at the very beginning. And Tavo's quietly been having a very good game. He's getting off good bugs during these fights. It's keeping that vision with the track and everything. 3-2 and 15.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, he came in and just, like, we were talking about that top fight where HFN, BKB, like, Tavo comes in on the bottom side and his damage just ripped apart the Meepo and KP's Necrophos.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Weehaw Invoker, man. I can't believe that they left Invoker in this pool. When they picked up Meepo, I was like, well, they're going to ban Invoker. And they banned Ursa instead. I was like, what? And then they chose the Timbersaw. Like, I'm fine with the Timbersaws, whatever. As long as, like, I'm more okay with Timbersaw and they get Ursa than I am with them getting Invoker on lane, you know? I think like, it was the only
massive AoE.
It's the only carry answer to all 3 of your cores.
Especially in the mid lane too, where it's like you're trying to find this like true one solution.
Yeah.
Where you just run it out of the mid, and I hear this Weehaw guy's pretty good at it too. So
yeah.
Maybe a bit of a missed one there.
And paiN set him up really well for it too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they even already had the bounty hunter to
and
be able to get Sunstrike kills.
So. But right now they are being forced into a terrain, like a designated terrain for Mineski. There's a chance if paiN do make mistakes here, this can certainly start turning the other way. Although it's a 21k lead, that a lot of that's in like BKBs and stuff. If those don't go off, suddenly your heroes like randomly die. But obviously this is pretty
Reaper Scythe, they make sure to get the instant disable. But again, that is only the Aegis. So Mineski need to try and push back paiN, but paiN are just swarming forward with their BKBs now, trying to get some damage onto Moon. Not really the best target. So instead they just focus on the racks, try and take out these objectives, but the glyph was still up. And paiN, their BKBs now down. The only one left is Weehaw's Invoker. He can play the front line for paiN Gaming.
Got that ward in the back too, just spotting JT. They know where he's trying to jump from.
Lotus Orb being placed on Moon to remove that Cold Snap. They are going to go for HFN. Stomp goes out. Ice Path controlling him. They can pull back the Chakram in a moment. That'll be the kill. Weehaw forced to use his BKB. Fiend's Grip. Turn around. No. Instantly. There goes the Yule Scepter to be able to release KP. And now Misery's going to be caught with a Stomp straight in. Tavo has to retreat, leaving his support behind. Moon just keeps on moving forward. He has the Lotus Orb bounce back onto King RD, but he doesn't have the Disable to stop the TP.
Okay. So they lose a little bit, but I mean, they are now clearing up tier 3s, which means these shrines will start to be targeted by the Radiant side, so paiN will probably slow their roll somewhat here.
Wait, where'd that come from?
King RD just got meatbooed. Oh, it doesn't feel right to be rooting against the team that drafted Meepo and Timbersaw, yet here I am. Wow. paiN fan. Well, you're okay then. You should be fine.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure They have a 20,000 gold lead. They could pretty much take HFN out of this game entirely, and Mineski would be like kind of dead even with paiN.
I like this though, taking some risks, moving aggressively here. Maybe try and get down some vision, try and catch when someone's TPing back to like this tier 2 or something, and see if then you can take a higher numbered fight or something.
At Lincoln's on Weehaw.
Oh, there
like
you
the
go.
only reason he's dying is because of Reaper's side setup. Right? Good pickoff on Misery to start things off, allowing Mineski to get some control over this mid area, push for the tier 2.
I love it when teams do this. They're like, it's like almost overextending aggressively in some ways, but you're doing it because like they have so few heroes there that you just want to catch one more hero and just extend that time when they're not on the full 5-man roster. And that basically gets them this tier 2. Like if paiN's up, you feel way less confident about doing this.
Well, if you're paiN, you don't want to fight until you have that Lincoln's. The Scythe just complete for JT as well. I think like every fight that Weehaw gets off BKB, I think they win.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah, I would say almost certainly.
Radiant are
Unless he's
standing.
like throwing meteor combos on somebody that's not the Meepo.
HFN's actually thinking about getting a
Dire's
Silver
top
Edge here.
shrine is under attack.
Yeah, I mean,
I guess
Moon-
when a Timber's defending, they don't really have the stacks to start with.
Yeah, and they can't like lay the big magic damage burst on him because he gets like cold snapped or something, and they throw the meteor, but he gets force staffed or lotus orbed.
Dire's top
You know,
shrine
they really need
has
to
fallen.
land that meteor on the Timber Saw to threaten him with magic damage, and so instead, break that reactive armor off, and maybe physical damage will do the trick. You can see how important the force staffs are. Febi's trying to build one as well.
It's just so tough this game. Again, like they don't even itemize the disables, and KP finally gets another item into Lotus Orb for himself. So he's been stuck there for a very long time.
But I mean, it's still a Meepo game, right? With the Necrophos, they get the right initiation, they get the right like
They've got
pickoff to
synergy.
start it. They've got yes,
Yes.
apparently, according to our SAP overlay, it is SAP overlay.
sense.
It has synergy between Necrophos and Meepo.
Gotta heal those heroes. All 5 of them at
All-
once.
Yes.
Still 7 seconds left there for old Weehaw the BKB.
But yeah, if they could pop Invoker, if they could get on top of him somehow and then Reaper's side kill him.
Yeah, that's one problem with Nature's Prop is that you're not really, you know, it's deceptive to be at 25k.
Yeah.
Because if the Invoker's not in the fight, HFN can't just stand there. That's for sure. He'll just be a dead man.
And their BKBs are wearing a bit low.
Yeah.
Weehaw's is 7 seconds. I think HFN's is probably around the same here. Oh, King RD. Snared up. Moon comes through because he can challenge Weehaw a little bit. He can go for
this
these
is
kills.
pretty
Well, maybe just a
challenging.
little bit forward. He needs a Lotus over the Force Staff to be able to get away, but the physical damage is still doing so much. The Elder Titan managed to get off a decent ultimate. Febi still trying to get away. The Sunstrike! Godlike spree for Weehaw as he lands another one. Moon thought he could just turn around, but you can't stop moving when
Think,
you've got this track Sunstrike.
He might be a little challenged, I think might be what's going on there. Poor KP just got baited
Oh,
completely
Ice
to
Path
death.
Macro Fire with the Timber Chain through. That was a beautiful combination, but Weehaw survives a little bit longer, kills the Elder Titan, gets out with this BKB,
Look at that
juggling
macro
those cross
fire.
balls all the way.
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
I have to say, Jakiro's been on. Mushi,
Yeah.
he's had some weird deaths a couple of times, but honestly, he's had some pretty clutch ice paths when it did count. Unfortunately, it all feels like very Pyrrhic, where it's not actually going to make that big difference. It's very hard for them to get back in this game. They have to keep doing this consistently for so long.
Moonstun relying on other people for his Lotus Orbs. He's gonna get one for himself.
Shivas and Lotus.
He almost has level 25 as well, which is
Didn't lose Rex, though.
yeah, I mean Timber Chain upgrade, I guess.
Yeah, I do not think you need to be whirling down in this one.
But when you're defending your base, it doesn't really matter how long your Timber Chain is.
Hey man, this Nature's Prophet kills all the trees, you know. It's a little
Yeah.
hard to find the trees sometimes.
That's true, that's true.
He can split push very quickly with bots and 1400 Timber Chain range.
Well, so can the Furion now that his teleportation skill no longer has a cooldown.
What a talent.
Why is he walking anywhere?
That's a great question.
You don't need to walk.
I think that's actually why he has stopped moving, I think. He's just like, yeah, I really don't need to start moving anywhere. Just TP all the time.
We're talking about level 25 talents. Mushi just gets his level 15.
Jeez, that's
talent.
with the XP talent, too. It's been a hard game for him. He's been dying first in a lot of these fights. So it's very understandable.
I think the later this game goes, the better it is for Mineski, right?
I would say so, yeah, because you're basically looking at, it almost feels like 3 supports at a point for paiN. Like the Nature's Prophet, I don't know, he kind of just does the same thing. Unless he gets like Scythe and stuff, and he does have a Scythe, so that is a very good solution. That actually makes this hero scary, even when there's no Invoker. Especially when he's a DD.
TP's down the bottom lane.
Oh man, they caught Moon right there. Oh, he's just dead.
Double damage, Silver Edge, they're gonna break him, and that physical damage. You thought he was good before. Yule Scepter into the Sunstrike, that's not really gonna save you. He's still gonna go down. Now Tavo looks for more with his BKB activated. He's gonna take out Febby first. Oh, Ice Path actually protects him just in time. They're trying around Reaper's side. They do manage to get that kill. Their Tornado came through, tossing KB up in the air, as well as the Meepos. They're trying to away. Indiana Jones, they can't get away from the Meteor fast enough. They actually threw out the shotgun onto the Meepo to be able to save him from the physical damage. The shots aren't gonna be there in time. JT will survive on the Meepo for now, but the rest of the team is still dying. They've died on both the Timbersaw as well as the Necrophos with no buybacks. JT jumping back in will quickly get a Misery pick off, but they're still in a bad position.
I think paiN is back though. Again, they're gonna fail on the high ground push.
The Meepo's just too scary.
This is gonna turn into one of those games where HFN's gonna TP top during the next fight where they try and go high ground, and then HFN's gonna die because he thinks like, oh, I'll just take the racks, and then Meepo will be over there and get the kill on him, and then the game starts looking bad for paiN.
All right, well, you heard Trent's prediction.
Yeah. Tavo doesn't
Oracle
agree.
Trent. Tornado. No. Ice Path. Also no. So many align abilities. So many misses.
Yeah, it's just so irritating to play. Jakiro's one of these heroes just like terrible if you're not ahead.
Yeah.
When you're ahead, it feels great. You're like liquid firing towers, and you're just like, this is the greatest hero ever invented in the history of Dota. Because you're so tanky and beefy, and you just walk around everywhere. Then when you're behind, you're like, well, I can't hit anything. My core just dies, and all I can hit an Ice Path is freezing the people that just killed my core. And the Roche pops back up
Time
there.
for some cataclysms. They're gonna run into him. Tornado. Oh no, this is a disaster. They're gonna be able to get out some combinations. EMP first. No Meteor apparently. They do spot the real Meepo though, so they're gonna be able to catch him with the Meteor over the top. The Meepo is gonna die eventually here. Managed to get a lot of damage out. The Weaver actually went down as a result. Moon's gonna come in, almost finishing off Weehaw. Weehaw actually taking some right clicks. Timber chain through him. Weehaw's still not dead. JT looks to be able to grab him. Actually got a beautiful ensnare with over the top. The Timber chain through, still not enough. Weehaw gets away with the Tornado. Will be able to get out the Fiend's Grip on the side. Now the Cataclysm. There it goes. Blowing up all those Meepos. That is 4 dead with no buyback, and a good game called for Mineski.
Oh man, those 4-man tornadoes on one of those like thin lines of the map are just so brutal.
Yeah.
There's nothing to do, and they have like no BKB heroes on the side of paiN there, so onto the side of Mineski, so very difficult stuff to play into.
Yeah. Rough times. I mean, it was a 4th pick Meepo. It looked super scary, and then once the Invoker came in, we're like, oh, okay. Now this is fine for paiN.
Kind of felt like one of those moments where it's like, oh yeah, this is why we don't see 4th pick Meepo, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think about the Timbersaw? I mean, that was a questionable pickup.
Yeah, I really hate Timbersaw, to be honest.
Just think if they had some sort of initiator that did some sort of stuns, anything like that.
It's kind of one of those heroes that he keeps being tried by a lot of teams. I know like J-Storm has been playing quite a bit in NA, and some games it starts to look good. Even in the games where it looks good at the start, sometimes it still is a rough time. But it just didn't have that instant matchup where you see like, oh, okay, I see how Timber is going to be able to get behind the tower, and he just needs like a hood and he's unkillable. And if you don't have that game as Timber, then the hero just feels terrible.
Rough times for Mineski here in this first game. They thought they had the answer. They thought they had the Meepo. They're like, free win, baby. Unfortunately, just not the case. Well, we're going to have to see what they can come up with going into game 2.
Indeed we are, yes. Will called it, didn't he? Before he said, this looks like a very good Invoker game. He was absolutely right. paiN pulling through in the end. No Meepo wins here. It just, you know, it's the way it goes, gents.
I did think
Always like to see Meepo games. Well, some of us do, but
It is fun. But yeah, it wasn't the best Meepo game.
Yeah.
There's some complaints that he didn't seem as experienced. His laning stage went really well. He got like 2 solo kills, right?
3.
3 solo kills. That's really good. But from there, he seemed a little lost. So maybe he just practiced too much the laning stage and not enough on the grinding Meepo games, perhaps.
yeah. I mean, we've seen it in the past. There's some Meepo players out there, and they're specialists, aren't they, Will? You know, it's one of those kind of heroes that you need to know it inside out, not just for the laning stage, for the whole game.
Yeah, it's got to kind of be your passion. But
Yeah.
I do think that his Meepo is passable enough. I feel like the bigger issue is like the Timber Saw. Because I think a lot is made of if you don't get a perfect Meepo game, you shouldn't pick it. But like it was a pretty good Meepo game. I think it was more to do with
first
the
4
Timber.
picks, it was fine, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was fine. I think it was the Timber that made their lineup collapse more than anything.
I feel like their Timber could have worked. Like the reason they picked it, I thought, was they could have a lane stabilization hero against like Nature's Prophet. That way Prophet doesn't just bully their other core or bully their Necro or whatever. So they solved that, and he did really well in the early game. But what happened was like the early to mid position of the game, like the 10 to 20 minute mark, where he just got ganked repeatedly, and paiN against that was just amazing. It was like they just kept setting up these kills on Timber repeatedly. And I think that slowed them down so much, in addition to the Meepo having issues, that it just made the game really straightforward then for paiN Gaming. So I just think the Timber could have worked, but it was just died a little bit too much mid game, and it didn't quite go crazy enough in the late game.
Well, the thing about I kind of disagree, because I see Timber. I see he has like a ton of farm. He has tons of defensive items. It's like, what else do you build to make that hero like inherently useful? Because what's going to happen is the way that the hero works is you have to just chance pushing out waves. You have to put pressure with that hero, because he can't gank for you. He can't really move to other lanes very easily. It's not a mobile like counter gank or anything like that. You're this guy who just sits in a lane, pushes it out, and you take towers by virtue of being able to cut waves. Like that's what your hero does. I don't think it worked in the past because his reactive armor was just straight up broken. So if you try to gank him, if you recall that TI where DC did very well and they went very far, they just kept first 2 picking his heroes because he would just sit there, nobody could move him out. You'd suddenly have this like level 15 Timber Saw that no one could touch, and then the game was over. But I think right now the reason why you never see that hero, and I really rarely if ever see it, even in like the perfect Timber games, is because right now his laning isn't phenomenal, and at some point he just dies. Because you just go 3-man gank him, and the crazy part is it's always worth it to gank a Timber Saw. Even if it takes a little bit longer, you're just going to go kill him. And with Sunstrike, it makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
Like, Fiend's Grip Sunstrike, like what item was he really going to build to deal with that pure damage?
And Brain Sap too. It's like they had those 2 good pure solutions. So the Invoker was like the perfect pick for the game, and it helped them kill Timber regardless of where Invoker was on the map. So it was like they did have Timber solutions in the mid game. So doing that killing was very possible for them.
We've got some good Invoker players at this tournament, Will. Not many better than we are. And as you said, he had the kind of perfect game, really. And no surprise that he's made our MVP. 21, 5, and 12, and plenty of well-placed shots around the map as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Weehaw he might not be the absolute best, but
He's up there though, isn't he?
Yeah, he's my favorite Invoker to watch. Like his Sunstrike at TI, my, I've never seen. I think that was the best play, legitimately, I've ever seen. He had a
They took
read.
the fountain one.
Yeah, it was like a 45-second read.
Yeah.
He didn't even scan or anything. He just knew that it was coming. And in this game, his laning phase was a little bit rough, as Weehaw is a bit of a volatile mid laner. Like sometimes he just randomly dies in matchups. I'm like, how did Weehaw die in that? But it's okay because the game itself, like the state of the game, I told Kevin as we were walking off, I said, if you have 2 supports that can't get to that Invoker, he's going to have the freest game of all time. And that's why I feel like the Timber was never going to work, because imagine if they have just spitballing like some sort of gap closer, like an Earthshaker, where you can fissure him from distance and get on top of him and kill him. That's something. Whereas like the Timber has to slowly amble his way in. He doesn't provide that kind of oomph in the team fight.
You know, the only fights that went well were like a Stomp into Ice Path or an Ice Path into other AoE combos. So it's almost like he needed like a Hex or an Ags or some way to like really threaten his opponents more so than just staying alive. So I definitely agree with that.
Good stuff. It's the first time I've heard live commentators actually say, oh my god, look at that macro pipe. Turns out that was absolutely true. They forebode the future. With 1-0 as far as paiN Gaming concerned, as we head to a break. Plenty for Mineski to think about as they'll come back ready to fight again for another point in Group A. We'll see you soon.